Hi everyone, welcome back to Ways of the World, a brief global history with sources. We're going to begin our study of Chapter 22, Global Processes, Technology, Economy, and Society with Technology, Acceleration, and Innovation. All right, technological globalization. So this image of three young Ecuadorian women in Quito huddled around a cell phone illustrates the very rapid global spread of this new technology in communication since it was first introduced in 1973. By 2015, approximately 80% of Ecuadorians had an active mobile phone subscription. So what aspects of this image are indicative of globalization, and how does this image reflect the acceptance of globalization in the global south? Well, this photo of Ecuadorian women shows them reading from a cell phone. The phone itself was most certainly not made in Ecuador, demonstrating the effects of global trade, but it also likely is, or at least could be, sending and receiving information to or from anywhere in the world in seconds, another facet of globalization. One must also examine their clothing and hairstyles, which are in some respects influenced by global trends in the global north. All right, generating energy, fossil fuel breakthroughs. So access to coal, oil, and natural gas has become the foundation of the modern world economy. And it's quote-unquote this age of fossil fuels in the 20th century with huge amounts of consumption. Technology allowed fossil fuels to be turned into useful energy, like electricity and electric grids. It allowed for cheaper lighting, especially at night, and electric motors for machinery and industry that made production increase as opposed to steam. And the internal combustion engine is also part of this. That led to a decline in the use of horses, and it led to faster and more efficient movement of people and goods. And it's also a potent source of greenhouse gases. All right, this is figure 22.1, sources of world energy consumption, 1820 to 2010. It was access to fossil fuels that allowed world energy production to skyrocket during the 20th century. So explain the consequences of the trend shown in this chart. This chart demonstrates that an increasing number of people have access to electricity, but as global electricity production still relies on fossil fuels, climatological degradation is a major consequence as well. Harnessing energy, transportation breakthroughs. So there have been dramatic innovations for moving goods and people in the 20th century. Cars, buses, trucks, container shipping and supertankers, airplanes and air freight. And globalization spread innovations rapidly as well. Cars may have the greatest social and cultural impact. Cheap gasoline helped ensure that the internal combustion engine would be used going forward. And car ownership conveys freedom, individuality, personal empowerment, and status. And it also linked remote areas with urban areas. All right, 22.1, World Energy Consumption Per Capita 2013. So while the global energy production soared during the past century, access to the energy remained highly uneven in the early 21st century when measured on a per-person basis. And this is from the World Bank. Which continents used the least amount of energy per capita in 2013? Africa and South America used the least energy per capita in 2013. So if we think about this map and the map from chapter 20 that showed the world in 1914 on the brink of World War I, what might you infer about the legacy of colonialism by comparing relative energy consumption in 2013 in former imperial countries and their colonies? Well, this comparison tells us that the majority of the imperialized world, despite gaining independence after World War II, is yet caught up to their former European imperial masters. And this is most likely because of the colonizers that did not invest in industry in these regions and used them almost exclusively to extract raw materials. All right, a French motorcycle. So among the early uses of the internal combustion engine was a French petroleum-powered tricycle, illustrated in this 1899 poster and said to be a quote-unquote means of transportation for everyone. In an apparent celebration of technological progress, the stylish and modern young woman scatters a flock of geese as she zooms past an old peasant couple in the background. In this image, modernity and progress trump both nature and tradition. So what aspects of this image reflect technological progress, and what aspects reflect tradition? Well, technological progress is shown by the woman on the oil-powered motorcycle overcoming the older traditions of nature, as exemplified by the geese, and human society, which is exemplified by the elderly people in the old town behind her. Harnessing energy. Communication and information breakthroughs. So there's a communication revolution in the 19th century, the telephone and the telegraph. And in the 20th century, those innovations went even further. Radios, motion pictures, television, computers, cell phones, the internet, and it originated in the West but were global in under a century. And it really reshaped human life. The spread of news to remote areas because of the radio, TV informs, educates, and entertains many people. And the computer access led to information and online education. But there's a debate and criticism about the control and the manipulation by these technologies. All right, computers and camels. So the global penetration of computer technology is illustrated in this 2012 image of two Tunisian Bedouins consulting their laptop in the Sahara Desert. So how does this image reflect a continuity of global trade? Well, while these Bedouins use a personal computer, likely connected via satellite to the internet, they still traverse the Sahara on camels, as have their predecessors for hundreds of years. Harnessing energy, military breakthroughs. So in the 19th century, there were explosive machine guns, submarines, tanks, poison gas radio, military aircraft. And in World War II, we had the radar, computers, jet engines, battle tanks, fighter aircraft, aircraft carriers, atomic bombs, and since the Cold War, nuclear war has been imaginable. And that concludes our study of technology, acceleration of innovation. I will see you guys next time.